And welcome back again. Yours truly, Anthony Parker Alexander, of Keeping It Honest. We don't just keep it simple, we don't just keep it real. We, of course, keep it honest. You watch the show, we know we try to give left side, try to give right side. And at the end, we try to let you decide. We get both sides of the story, black and white, pretty much. Sometimes there's gray, but we try to keep it black and white. Fani Willis, Donald Trump case. Find me the rules. Boy, biggest case to me in our lifetime, one of the biggest cases. We get to really know about lawyers and the law and what you can do. Just don't put yourself in this case. So, as these closing arguments start to come to light, or have come to light, I'm going to talk about Nathan Wade a little bit. It's all about the character. Now, he's an attorney, but I'm going to give you the character of what we know. So the guy said he's been divorced. He's an attorney. Divorce papers. So when he went on trial, he said he was divorced. Found out he wasn't divorced. Had never really filed. Hadn't filed. So really recently, was fooling around throughout those years, but he still considered himself divorced. So when the prosecutor asked him about what do you consider divorced, he pretty much said, well, him and his wife have been mentally divorced. And as I found out too, the guy doesn't really believe in paperwork, and he's an attorney. So he knows really, technically, you can't be divorced until you file the papers. He only filed them a couple of years ago, but says he's been divorced almost 20 years in his mind. So when he was with other women, he technically on paper wasn't divorced, but he was divorced in his mind. So the reason I guess he said he really wanted to get divorced was because his wife fooled around with his best friend. Wow. So instead of getting divorced when he could legally, he just continued to do things and also supposedly had affairs while he was married. We know for a fact he probably had an affair with Miss Willis, special prosecutor, while he was married. So when he's filing the court papers, found out that he asked Bradley to sign them. He put the court papers together, Terrence, and Bradley signed them. But technically it was Terrence who signed the papers, or act like he was the attorney when he really wasn't. It was Nathan. So some of the things that I found out about this guy. He says he never really does paperwork. Couldn't really find out what he did with some of the money that he was given and paid for. But this story I saw, I'm gonna give her credit, AV7. I love her show, she breaks things down. But there was a case that Terrence did before, a couple years ago, and a couple people died on his watch. We're gonna talk about it and play the story. Because after I read this, you won't believe it till you see it coming out of his own mouth. Before that, you have any questions or comments, you can email me. It's parkerman2011@gmail.com, parkerman2011@gmail.com. You can also text me, voice message. Telephone number is 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. Let me know what you think about the show. We're trying to advance. We're adding little things as we continue, and also support our show. When you read up about us, we have a Cash App, and And I'm trying to stop this real quick before it goes on. We have a cat. And if you want to subscribe to our Cash App, you go ahead and subscribe to our Cash App. It's kind of like PBS. If there's shows that you like, you watch TV and there's a show that you like, you try to support it. And that's what we hope that you do on our show, keeping it honest. You get on our page, our YouTube page, you can see previous shows that we've done. We've done a lot of shows, done a lot of subjects, and we have some upcoming good shows coming up too. So we're doing this Fannie Willis, Donald Trump thing. And it's crazy. Like I said, Terrence, or not Terrence, Nathan. He's a smooth dresser and everything. But as he's filed and gone after cases, there's no real paperwork of everything that he's done. And at one point, this station, TV station, was wondering, well, what the heck? Doesn't make sense. But here's the backstory. Then I'm going to play you the video and we'll talk about it. So at this situation in 2020, Wade testified that he kept no written documentation of an investigation that he was tasked to try to correct. So here we go. When they asked Nathan, well, what did you do with the paperwork? He admitted in court that he destroyed the notes. Doesn't make sense. So a lot of people didn't know about him, but he's known in Atlanta because it's a small city, even though it's a big city, but a lot of people know each other from what I heard. And he was tasked, his job was to do something important to save people's lives. And if I had a ball, I'd drop it because that's what he did. So following a series of inmate deaths within the Cobb County Jail, this TV station filed an open records request in 2020 to better understand the circumstances surrounding the in-custody deaths. So there were a couple people that died in jail, inmates, and they were wondering about it. This Channel 11. So they filed an open records request to better understand the circumstances. Okay, specifically, the complete criminal and internal affairs case pertaining to these deaths. The Cobb County Sheriff's Office declined to release the records, which sometimes some people do, which isn't good, despite the fact that their attorney acknowledged two of the files were previously released to members of the public, according to court records from the state. Sounds like a suspicious jail. Couple inmates dying. TV station not getting their request. Their reasoning, the cases had been reopened as part of a broader investigation by an independent law firm into inmate deaths. Couple inmates getting killed, people wondering why. So they needed to get the investigation. And who did you think was asked to conduct this third-party review? Nathan Wade's law firm. An affidavit from then Chief Deputy Sonia Allen said the firm offered to conduct the review for free. Now, who does that for free? Under Georgia law, open investigations are generally exempt from disclosure required under the Open Records Act. But this TV station reported at the time it raised questions about the authenticity of the investigation, and the attorneys filed suit to release the records. The TV attorneys, they said, we got to get these records. So in one filing, Sheriff Warren's attorney wrote that over the course of about 5 months, both Nathan Wade and his law partner had met with numerous staff members and inmates and reviewed hundreds of files. So over 5 months, they reviewed hundreds of files, Nathan Wade and his staff. So remember, they offered to conduct this review for free. So the document was filed October 9th, 2020. At a hearing 3 days later, Wade said as of the time of the hearing, he had no records of the investigation. So this 5-month investigation, he had no records. Okay. So the 11 Live, that's a TV station, the attorney, Derek Boyer, asked, do you not have a single record in your possession that's associated with the review and assessment that you've been engaged to undertake after 5 months? Bunch of people he's talked to. Wow. And Wade said, I do not. He said his law firm didn't have any either. So he doesn't have a record. His law firm doesn't have a record. He looked over this for 5 months, met with staff members and inmates, and hundreds of files he put through, and he has no record. His law firm has no record. So when pressed, Wade said he had created work product, just not in the form of documents, communications, or records, memorizing, reflecting evidence, or relating to the work. Where's all this information at? So the 11 Live attorney asked what that work product was that he conducted. Wade said he kept it right up here. I have obviously my brainchild. What's going on in my mind about it? That's what I have. On the occasion when Wade did take paper notes on interviews, what did he do? He destroyed them. Got done with it, destroyed it, and walked out. So in an order ruling in favor of 11 Alive, that's a TV station, and compelling the Cobb Sheriff's Office to refuse or to release many of the initially requested case files, Cobb County Superior Court Judge A. Gregory Poole, he dismissed all the claims against Wade after finding that there is no evidence that defendant Wade possessed any documents or other materials subject to the Open Records Act. So the 5 months, the investigation to see if any inmates had been mysteriously killed in jail. The judge ruled against everything. But Judge Poole also noted Wade had not produced any reports or observation of his reviews and releasing a report. So again, that's so interesting. We're about to show you in a second how this case is so weird. I'm going to show you a video. And in this video is the TV station, is, and it's so funny, Nathan Wade, and the TV reporter is asking Nathan, where's the paperwork? So for months, wow. I mean, can you believe it? For months, he was conducting a search, maybe free of charge, I don't know. And the information that he had was kept right here in his head. Does this remind you of Nathan when he was in court dealing with the Fannie case and he couldn't kind of remember stuff and he was vague? So this was a couple years back. And 11 Alive was pretty surprised at Nathan Wade as far as the attorney. So if you don't believe me, and it sounds like a totally weird story, I want you to watch this. And we're going to talk as this is going on. But listen in. Let me get the sound and go back a little bit. Because this is your attorney. This is the guy who is trying different cases. And you won't believe it until you see it.
A lawsuit 11 Alive filed against Sheriff Neil Warren.
So this lawsuit here, it alleges that the sheriff violated the Open Records Act by withholding public documents by manufacturing a bogus investigation to conceal those records. Andy Parati explains why 11 Alive requested those documents.
The records involve 2 inmates who died at the county jail more than a year ago. 11 Alive requested those documents in August. The sheriff said no, because a private attorney was conducting an independent investigation into their deaths. During a hearing earlier this week, we've learned that wasn't exactly true.
In the sheriff's department.
This is the man currently conducting an extensive review of the Cobb County Detention Center.
So that man is Nathan Wade, and this took place in 2020. So he's conducting an investigation into the deaths of these 2 men. He said he'd do it free of charge.
Private attorney Nathan Wade.
Our mission was to conduct an assessment and review on cases involving neglect/death at the jail, use of force at the jail, and racial discrimination.
In June, Cobb County Sheriff Neil Warren asked Wade to do it after a series of deaths at the jail. 5 months into his work,
So 5 months into his work, and it's a big deal because he gets to see if there's anything happening at this jail. 2 inmates have died. A big deal. Any racial disparity. A big deal. And the results. A big deal. So what did he do after the 5 months?
he had little to share with 11 Alive attorney Derek Bauer when asked where his assessment stands Monday afternoon.
Detention Center. Now, the order is in response to a lawsuit 11 Alive filed against Sheriff Neil Warren.
So this lawsuit here, it alleges that the sheriff violated the Open Records Act by withholding public documents by manufacturing a bogus investigation to conceal those records. Andy Parati explains why 11 Alive requested those documents.
The records involve 2 inmates who died at the county jail more than a year ago. 11 Alive requested those documents in August. The sheriff said no.
How can you be an attorney, really? And I'm stressing this video because is this a pattern? And if, McAfee says, okay, well, I don't even know if he has this. It doesn't have anything to do with the Fani Willis Trump case, but it shows a pattern. It shows a pattern how he was on the stand and how he really couldn't say anything. Same with this story.
Because a private attorney was conducting an independent investigation into their deaths. During a hearing earlier this week, we've learned that wasn't exactly true.
In the sheriff's department.
This is the man currently conducting an extensive review of the Cobb County Detention Center. Private attorney Nathan Wade.
Our mission was to conduct an assessment and review on cases involving neglect/death at the jail, use of force at the jail, and racial discrimination.
In June, Cobb County Sheriff Neil Warren asked Wade to do it after a series of deaths at the jail. 5 months into his work, he had little to share with 11 Alive attorney Derek Bauer when asked where his assessment stands Monday afternoon.
So you do not have a single record in your possession that's associated with the review and assessment that you've been engaged to undertake?
I do not.
Does your law firm possess any records?
No, sir.
Wade says he's reviewing 5 years worth of jail deaths free of charge. He claims he's reviewed hundreds of documents involving at least 12 inmate fatalities so far, which included re-interviewing deputies. But he did not have a single note or record to share.
So he's been doing this for 5 years. And he has no records of anything to share. And he did this for free. It's crazy.
As your review and assessment for the Cobb County Sheriff's Office stands today, you have no work product whatsoever associated with that undertaking, correct?
Oh, I have work product. It's just not in the form of documents, communications, or record memorializing, reflecting evidence, or relating to the work as you've put it here.
Okay, well, what work product do you have?
Okay. So you have work product, but you don't have paper records? I mean, do you have computer records? where do you keep all these records?
Well, I have obviously my brainchild, my what's going on in my mind about it. That's what I have.
You heard that right. The work he's produced over the past 123 days, all in his brain. And when he did use paper to document his findings, he threw it away.
Got done with it, destroyed it, and walked out.
So,
Okay, so when you did take notes, you destroyed them when you were finished with the interview?
Yes, they're in the sheriff's department.
2 of those inmate deaths include Reginald Wilson and Bradley Emery. Both of their case files closed last year. But when 11 Alive asked for their records in August, the county attorney wrote, Sheriff Warren requested an independent law firm investigate circumstances surrounding the inmate deaths. That would be Mr. Wade, and that state law allowed the agency to withhold records until the conclusion of his investigation. There's just one problem. Wade admits he's not doing a criminal investigation at all.
Whatever it is not a criminal investigation, correct?
That's correct.
11 Alive filed a lawsuit against Sheriff Warren in September, claiming he was violating state law by withholding public jail records and that Wade's investigation is illusionary in an effort to shield thousands of public and potentially damaging records from disclosure in an election year. Sheriff Warren is running for re-election in November. Wednesday afternoon, Cobb County Superior Court Judge Gregory Poole ordered the sheriff to release the records to 11 Alive.
Now, Andy, the sheriff originally denied providing any records for these 2 inmates following a scathing investigation that you produced about the detention center just before, right?
Ron, that's correct. In August, our review investigative team uncovered 2019 video of an inmate named Cavell Wingo seen begging for medical help and complaining that he could not breathe for hours. Instead of sending him to the hospital, jail staff put him in a padded room where he died. The sheriff continued to provide jail death records, but stopped after we published our investigation into Wingo's death. Today's ruling is a big win for the public's right to know. Now we're hoping the sheriff produces the documents the court has ordered him to do so. We reached out to Sheriff Warren, but did not hear back.
wow. So what did you think about that? That was a very, very interesting. So Nathan Wade decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this for free. I'm going to do this investigation. There have been a couple people killed in this jail. I'm going to find out. I think there's some racial divisions involved. And I'm going to try to save people. Now, did he present that like that? But what attorney does stuff for free? And so after the 5 years, 5 months of reporting, when they ask him, okay, what do you got? Let me see your papers. Oh, I don't have papers. I have this. I have my mind. So you have nothing to show for it? Nothing to show for it. Very aloof kind of guy, kind of cocky. What attorney doesn't have papers? As far as anybody doing a report, they don't have any papers, and the notes that he did, what did he do? He tore everything up. So he's doing this with Trump, the Trump case, and he's billing hours, but he has no paperwork. Oh, I talked to a guy. I'm billing $400 an hour. Wow. So this is the guy that you have who's connected with trying to put Trump in jail. Nathan Wade. He could have been a person in that case, that jail case, that could have saved a lot of people and opened up some eyes. But he didn't have any paperwork to show for his time. And thank goodness he didn't get paid for this. Wow. So are all attorneys like this? Well, it seems like there's a lot in Atlanta who are. But boy, if Judge McAfee, if he had to look at previous things, which I think he doesn't, it's your character. And it's a pattern of who your character is. So Donald Trump, he may be dirty. He may have done things crooked, him and his team, as I've said before. But if you've got another team that's investigating him that's as bad or worse than he is, then you need to really get rid of Fannie Lewis and especially Nathan Wade. Wow. Something to think about. So you've been watching, Keeping It Honest with yours truly, Anthony Parker. As the lights went off, as we're talking about this case, we don't know whether it's Fannie. We don't know if it's Donald Trump. Instead of find me the votes, find me the light switch. You can contact me. Leave me a voicemail, 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718, or email me, parkerman2011@gmail.com, parkerman2011@gmail.com. Tell your friends, hit the subscribe and like button. When you're on our YouTube page, go to the About. And we have Cash App, and we have other ways that you can contribute to keep us going. As you see, we try to do good work in the limited resources that we have. And it makes it seem like we didn't pay our light bill. Okay. But they're on a time sensitive thing. And tell your friends about our show. So as we continue this Fannie Willis versus Trump situation, ongoing thing, we're getting in as many stories as we can because we don't know how it's going to end. But no matter which way it ends, somebody's going to be upset because you can't please everybody. But hopefully the law will be right through all of this. Again, we give the left side, we give the right side. At the end of the day, we let you decide. In this case, is the best example. And with the Nathaniel Wade, what do you think of him? Like a good lawyer, bad lawyer, good person, bad person? We just went back to another story 4 years ago. Has he changed from how he is now? You decide. I'm Anthony Parker.